Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Coming to you live streaming from Flagstaff, Arizona, elevation 7,000 feet above sea level. Oh boy. Elevation effects kind of got to me a little bit last night, but I'm feeling better today. And no, I'm not drinking. Everybody knows that the effects of alcohol are intensified at higher elevations, but no alcohol was consumed last night. So it was just straight up the elevation difference that got me. Welcome in Ada K. Welcome in Trace on the Case. Good to see you both here. So today, what am I doing in Flagstaff, Arizona today? I'm going to give people a few minutes to kind of trickle in here, see if we pick anybody else up. You know, there are a couple of other trials going on, like 3 other trials going on. Obviously, I've been following those a little bit, but we're not going to talk about them here today because we're going to talk about justice for the victims of Samuel Bateman. Samuel Bateman is the FLDS self-proclaimed prophet who will be sentenced today in Coconino Superior Court here in Flagstaff. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to go provide you live boots on the ground coverage. There are cameras allowed in the courtroom by people who got permission ahead of time. One of those is not me. Last time for the trial, there were 2 people with cameras in there. There was the Netflix crew that did the documentary, the famous documentary about Samuel Bateman and the FLDS. And then Mike Watkus had a camera in there too. And I have not gotten footage from either of those parties. There are some very strict guidelines that those people had to follow to provide that camera footage. So they probably had to scrub that pretty well to make sure there weren't any victims or jury members shown in that. Yes, and I am here with you with my wonderful hotel coffee. I'm going to have to go get my water here in a second because that hotel coffee is not going to cut it today. I've already had 2 cups of it, and the 3rd cup is worse than the first 2, believe it or not. So Flagstaff. So I've got what we're going to do today. It's not going to be an extremely long live stream. Got some very focused things that I want to do. We're going to Facebook stalk a couple of people. Stalking, I say that tongue in cheek because these are public profiles. But we're going to take a look at Mike Watkus's Facebook page. This is his last case. Sam Bateman contacted him like 2.5 years ago, and he reported him to and they met at a park in Phoenix. And so Mike picked this back up. He had already gone into retirement, and he came out of retirement for this case, turned in Sam to the FBI, who basically did nothing for quite a while to investigate Sam and his, what does he have, like he had like 20 wives. And it took a while for them to actually take action on this. They finally did. Mike will be here in court covering this today. It'd be good to see him. I met him at the Lori Daybell trials a year ago. Great guy, very approachable. He's got a great history in investigative reporting, somebody that I look up to, admire quite a bit, and appreciate his spending time with me on occasion and just shooting the shit from time to time. Good dude. And he's a legend. Obviously, he covered Warren Jeffs before that and the FLDS. He, along a couple of others, are the OGs covering the FLDS in northern Arizona and Utah. So hold on one second here. I'm going to go grab my water. My throat's already starting to get a little sticky. Grab my water. I shall be right back. Let's see. Bloop. All right, I'm back. Now I've got water. Okay, let's just dig right in. So the first thing we're going to do, though, I like to cover sports. First, just a little sports blurb. And this is kind of cool because my Atlanta Braves, my team, played in the Little League Classic. So what Major League Baseball does is they send two teams to play in the baseball stadium where the Little League World Series is going on. And it's a really tiny stadium. Not very many people go, but obviously the teams that are in the World Series, the Little League World Series, get to go and watch. And so they did. And they did kind of a cool thing at the end of it. And I can't play the video because I will get copyright struck if I play the video. All right, so I'm going to share just a still clip of what happened at the end of the game. Besides the fact that my Braves won that game to avoid a sweep by the Brewers. Here we go. Share and add to stage. So at the end of the game, so every other Major League Baseball game ends with the team that wins celebrating by high-fiving themselves. They all go out and they all rush the field and high five, and they have a handshake line with themselves when they win the game. The losing team just wanders off the field, goes to their dugout, gets their stuff, goes to their locker room, and goes home. But on this day, on the Little League World Series Classic game played by the Braves and the Brewers a couple of days ago, they had the traditional Little League handshake line where the two teams line up opposite each other and shake hands, say good game. That was really cool. So I'm just showing stills, not playing any video. That'll be a big no-no. And let's see if we can find one of my favorite players on the Braves. He's there in the front of that line. There's a little bigger picture of him. See if I can hit it. Come on. There we go. That's Mauricio Dubon. So Mauricio is the only Honduran player in all of Major League Baseball. He's been on 3 or 4 different teams in his career, but this year he's playing for the Braves and he's having a hell of a season, contributing a lot to the Braves. So Mauricio, great to have you on the Braves, and thanks for helping us out in our National League East pennant race, which we're clinging to. Braves have lost like 8 of their last 10 games, something ridiculous. They need to finish out and win the National League East. All right, so let's remove that. Let us take a look at Mike Watkis's Facebook page. He's coming up here today. He posted this morning on Facebook, and he's got a couple of his things on his Facebook page that I want to talk about. Share screen. Here we go. Let's bring you up, Mike. So here is Mike Watkis's Facebook page. The link is down below in the description for this video. So his post this morning, an hour ago, best wishes from me and the Queen. And I know the people that are watching right now get this, but I'll just explain it for anybody that doesn't. When Sam Bateman contacted Mike like 2.5, 3 years ago, he said to Mike that God told him he needed to talk to Mike Watkis and the Queen of England. Those are the two people that he had to talk to in his lifetime. So obviously the most approachable was Mike, good approachable guy that he is. And they met in that park in Phoenix. Let's read his description here. Sam Bateman, this is a really good description that he put on here of what's happening today. So Mr. Bateman was sentenced last year for the federal charges, and these were the state charges. He was already sentenced to 50 years for the trafficking charges last year. I think April something of last year was his sentencing. He pled guilty. He could have taken a plea deal on this one too. So here's Mike's text. Sam Bateman could have taken a plea deal that would have given him about 2.5 years for the 3 child abuse charges stemming from his infamous Flagstaff traffic stop. But Sam wanted to go to trial and he wanted to represent himself. It was an absolute train wreck. The disgusted jury took mere minutes to find him guilty. And now Sammy Boy faces a whopping 24 years for the abuse and endangerment of those 3 young girls in the box trailer. 8 years on each of the 3 counts. Sam, of course, is already doing a 50-year stint in the slammer on federal charges. Could Judge Joshua Steinledge hit Sammy with a max sentence of 24 years to run consecutive following his federal time? Maybe. For his delusional arrogance and his self-righteous lack of remorse, Sam certainly deserves it. We will see. But one way or another, at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that Samuel Bateman is going to die in prison, and I'm going back into retirement. So this is Mike Watkiss's last story hustle. And if you don't know, his nickname is the Story Hustler. He got that from somebody else in media back years ago, and it was supposed to be an insult, but he adopted it as a badge of honor. So this is his last story hustle. Let's see. There are a couple of other things. Courtroom finale of the Sam Show. I've been looking to this for the last 4.5 years. So it was 4.5 years ago that they met at the park in Phoenix. Okay, it wasn't 2.5. Got my dates wrong. Other pictures on his Facebook page. And there's another one down here I want to talk about. Oh, he met comic Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson is hilarious. He comes up with little clips of his comedy shows on my Facebook feed, and hilarious. All right, sentencing for Sam round 2. That's not what I wanted to talk about. Getting there. I think it was around August 17th. Oh, here, Warren Jeffs. So he's been covering the FLDS for quite a while. Here's a link on his Facebook page to the bad cops of Colorado City. And that kind of ties in to what I want to talk about, because somebody who was in the state legislature at that time is now running for the governor of the state of Arizona, and it has come up in the campaign. Here we go, right here. Candy Andy, the pedo prophet, and the corrupt cops of Colorado City. So this is a post on Mike's Facebook page going back to August 17th. You heard it here first, folks. We've been talking about this twisted bit of Arizona history for years. We reported on it as it was happening. I'm so glad it hasn't been forgotten. While in the Arizona legislature, Andy Biggs actively and aggressively ran interference for convicted pedophile prophet Warren Jeffs and his thug police force. That's the Colorado City Police Force. Many of us had worked long and hard for years to stop Warren Jeffs and his gang of corrupt bully boy cops. This is according to Mike Watkiss. Evidence of the cops' malfeasance was overwhelming. We have been documenting their many abuses of power for years, but Andy Biggs and his sleazy lobbyist pals thought they knew better. Biggs's efforts ended up protecting, enabling, and prolonging Jeff's insane reign of terror and abuse for years. And now Andy Biggs' ugly record has become part of this year's political discourse, as it should be. Karma's hell, Andy, the story hustler. So on the left there is Andy Biggs. He was the Senate Majority Leader back a few years ago when there was a bill. Well, let's pull up that article. I found a news article on it, and it's going to be easier if I just read that, so I don't have to summarize it for you. I already looked it up. Here we go. All right, this is the Tucson.com news through the Arizona Daily Star, which I had to coincidentally buy a subscription for to show this, and I still get the ads. So they want my money for the subscription, and I still get ads off to the side. So we'll just have to deal with those. Let's see if I can remove that one. There, it'll be easier to read now. So the headline is Hobbs and Biggs. These are the two main candidates for governor of Arizona this year in this year's election. Hobbs and Biggs trade claims of failing to protect crime victims. The contenders for governor are hoping to sway voters in what is expected to be a close race by each portraying the other as soft on crime when it comes to protecting victims and children in particular. But the record about what has become exhibit number one for Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs' claim that Republican Representative U.S. Rep. Andy Biggs is unfit for governor may not be as clear as the incumbent is claiming. Hobbs has made a point of attacking Biggs, a former state senator, over a 2013 legislation in Arizona that would have allowed the state to disband the police department in the polygamous community of Colorado City amid allegations its officers were taking their orders from the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That measure, backed by then Attorney General Tom Horne, a Republican, was approved by the state House by a 52-7 margin. Read that again. I'll read it for you again. That measure, backed by then Attorney General Tom Horne, a Republican, was approved by the state House by a 52-7 margin. If you don't know much about Arizona, it's kind of a purple state. Like, there's a pretty good distribution of Democrats and Republican voters and representatives in the different houses. Well, in the House and in the state Senate and then the federal offices and in the governor. I mean, the current governor is a Democrat. So Arizona is a fairly purple state, and it passed in the House by a 52-7 margin. So then what happened to it when it went to the Senate for the similar bill? It died in the state Senate where Biggs was president. So Biggs was a president of the Senate in 2013 when the legislation came through. Andy Biggs has a really disturbing pattern of protecting pedophiles, Hobbs said last week, referring to allegations the police department in Colorado City was ignoring reports that FLDS church members were entering into plural marriages with girls as young as 9. We now know, looking back, that happened. Not just with Warren Jeffs, but with his father before him, and then with Sam Bateman after him. The governor said the legislation, sponsored by then Representative Michelle Ugenti-Rita, a Scottsdale Republican, would have reined in the pedophile cult in Colorado City that was abusing women and children, forcing children into marriage, but was blocked by Biggs. So this is an allegation that was blocked by Biggs. It took more than another 2 years before the U.S. Justice Department stepped in with a lawsuit against both Colorado City and its twin border town of Hilldale, Utah, over police misconduct. A federal judge ordered new oversight into not just the police department, but municipal practices of denying housing to non-FLDS members. There is no question that Biggs was opposed to the legislation. He told Capitol Media Services last week that he believed it was poorly written, citing opposition to it by the Fraternal Order of Police. Why do you think the Fraternal Order of Police objected to it? Because they're talking about taking a police department and disbanding it. Do you think that the Fraternal Order of Police actually objected to it on moral or poorly written grounds? Maybe they did. I don't know. I don't know what their official statement was on it, and I don't feel like looking it up. There is nothing in the record showing that Biggs was personally responsible for bearing the legislation. He was opposed to it. He was the president of the Senate. What the record does show is that after the measure was approved by the House, it went to the Senate, where Biggs used his power as Senate president to assign it to 2 committees for hearings. That double assigning move was unusual at the time for the Senate. Most bills needed review by just 1 committee, the exception being anything that required an appropriation of public funds. Any bill doubly assigned needs to be approved by both committees, creating a second hurdle and a second place where a bill can die. But it didn't even get that far. The first assignment was to the Public Safety Committee, whose chair, Chester Crandall, did not even give it a hearing. So do you think the president of the Senate has any influence over the Public Safety Committee chair? I wonder. Crandall told Capitol Media Services at the time it was his decision to quash the measure. He said he was not convinced it was a realistic solution to the problem of police enforcing church discipline, including going after women who fled polygamous marriages. Anyway, he said, seizing control of the police department provided only a temporary solution. Why can't a temporary solution be a gateway to a permanent solution? Biggs said he doesn't recall. Biggs doesn't recall whether he had any particular conversation with Crandall. I don't remember if I had a conversation with that committee chair or not. What do you think about whether he should give the measure a hearing? Crandall died in 2014. Shortly after that. Eugenti Rita, currently a candidate for the Scottsdale City Council, declined to discuss the issue, but she made it clear a decade ago when Biggs first ran for Congress that she thought he was the force behind the death of her legislation about Colorado City, and also held a grudge over her very visible push for its passage. After I came up with a viable solution to deal with the systemic corruption in Colorado City, Biggs treated me so bad I couldn't represent my constituents the way I wanted to, she told the Arizona Republic at the time. I don't remember anything about this particular issue, Biggs said when asked about his discussions with her on the Colorado City legislation. Asked about any actions he might have taken to undermine her other bills, he responded, I'm not going to disclose what we talked about on other issues. I think those are private conversations. Okay, so that's enough of this article. We see a pattern of behavior here, and it has come to light in the current campaign for Arizona governor, for the governor of state of Arizona. We have incumbent Katie Hobbs against Andy Biggs, who is currently a U.S. representative representing one of the districts in the state of Arizona. So let's look at one more YouTube video. This is a local radio station interviewing Katie Hobbs, and there's a brief discussion about her relationship with him. Let's see. Next, here we go. Let me see if I can find. It's at the 12-minute mark. Hold on. Let me share it with you, and then we'll go up to like the 12-minute mark. It's like a 15 to 20-minute interview, 18 to 20 minutes, but we're only going to look at a couple minutes of it. They don't actually talk about the 2013 legislation. She actually talks about other legislation that was there when she was a member of the House or the Senate, the state Senate. Oh, that's not what we want. All right. Share. So add that to the stage. So this is an interview 3 weeks ago between KTAR News and current governor and gubernatorial candidate Katie Hobbs. And here's the part about 12 minutes in where they talk about Andy Biggs. And she discusses some legislation that has to do with the backlog of rape kits in the state of Arizona. So pay attention to that when she mentions that, but she really takes the high road and doesn't really want to get into mud flinging at this point in time over this, or personal attacks on Andy Biggs.
A nice guy. He was Senate president when I was the Senate leader. We worked well together. I don't think we agreed on a lot, maybe anything. And I certainly, when it comes to working together on policy, his 10-year stint as being one of the most partisan extreme elected officials didn't start when he got to Congress. It started in the state legislature. And I know there was initiatives I worked on that had broad support that he blocked, including my bill that would have helped end the backlog of untested rape kits in the state. He blocked that from going through the Senate. But he's as a human.
So did you catch that? There was other legislation that he blocked besides that one. And I mean, I don't know what his problem was with that, but that sounds like a good thing to clear up the backlog of test kits, of our test kits. So I'm going to play that one more time and then play it to the end of the interview.
Through the Senate. But, he's, as a human, nice guy.
Wait, I don't think I backed up enough.
All right.
That he blocked, including my bill that would have helped end the backlog of untested rape kits in the state. He blocked that from going through the Senate. But he's as a human, nice guy.
Fair enough. All right. Is it easier to run against Lake or Biggs?
Okay, that's enough of that interview. So now I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to focus more on the victims that are going to get another measure of justice today. So I have the body cam footage of the infamous traffic stop here in Flagstaff, and I'm going to play that. I'm going to play it sped up on 1.25. It's a little bit long, and the beginning of it doesn't have any audio, but at the very beginning of it, we see Mr. Bateman getting pulled out of his vehicle and getting handcuffed, and then the audio turns on, and I want to pay attention to the girls' reactions, because I remember back at the trial, one of the things this trial for the state charges that I attended, I didn't go to the other one. There was some focus on the girls' reactions to the police pulling them over, and they were coached to not cooperate with the police in any interactions with police business. According to one of the victims that testified, maybe multiple victims, I can't remember which one it was or how many of them, but they were specifically asked by the prosecution, if they were told what to do in interactions with police. So I want to kind of pay attention to that. I'm going to let that run for a little bit, maybe stop it to comment once in a while. But whoops, let me fast forward to that real quick here. Oh, yes, there is audio, right? No. There we go. I need to back up to the beginning. I was watching this yesterday and it started where I left off. So this is the body-worn cam footage of the Arizona Department of Public Safety pulling over Sam Bateman and investigating this traffic stop where the girls were seen in the back of this trailer you see right in front of us. He was hauling them from Colorado City. He did haul them from Colorado City all the way to Flagstaff including on the interstate, in that trailer we see right in front of us. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And he kept saying in the trial when he was representing himself, I would never do anything to hurt my girls. You can't recognize how dangerous and stupid that is. On the interstate, I drove up the interstate yesterday, and coming into Flagstaff, I was hyperly aware of all of the traffic on the interstate. And even in the middle of the afternoon on a slow day, I could not imagine going 60, 65, 70, 75 miles an hour with girls in a trailer behind me. Just bonkers. So once again, there's no audio at the beginning of this. We'll pick up some audio here in a second.
Come over here, please. I'm going to get that knife off you, sir, okay? Any other weapons on you? No. Okay. Come over here, please. Nothing else on you? Phones? Stop reaching your pockets. What's your name, sir?
What's that?
What's your name, sir?
Samuel.
Samuel?
No, what are you saying about pockets?
Do you have any other weapons on you? Please don't reach in your pockets. Just let me... We're out here because there is supposed to be people back.
How many other people in the truck?
Well, do you see that look on his face when he's asked how many people are in there? Is he fixing to lie, or is he trying to figure out if he's going to tell the truth? I mean, it's an easy answer, dude. You don't need to think about it. It looks like he's fixing to lie. I don't think they showed this much detailed video footage in this trial. Maybe they watched it in the other. I don't even think they did in the other trial, because his federal charges were completely different. These charges are strictly about this traffic stop. So I'm going to back up a little bit. Watch his, pay attention to his face here.
In the truck.
We'll back up 2 more seconds before that.
We're out here because there is supposed to be people back.
How many other people in the truck? How many other people are in the truck?
Any information I get can and will be held.
Well, I just want to know who's inside the truck right now, so that way I know who else we're dealing with here. Or else I'm going to call everybody out.
As you can see, it's a pretty serious deal here, sir.
So he refuses to answer the question, how many people are in the truck? Like, what is going on?
What's your name?
Samuel.
Samuel what?
Won't give his last name.
Do I have to tell you my name?
I'm asking for your name.
I don't have to tell you, right?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
what is your name?
Crosses his arms. Refuses to identify himself. I think he probably has to here in a minute, but they haven't opened the back of that trailer yet to see who's in the back of the trailer. And when we watch that, I'm supposed to be doing this on 1.25 speed, aren't I? When we watch that, when we watch them open the trailer, keep in mind that they testified that the back door of the trailer was not secured. And as they're driving down the road, they thought it was going to pop open. So they stood up there. One of the girls stood up there and tried to hold that door closed so it wouldn't fly open on the interstate while they're driving down the road. And she was terrified. Can't imagine how scared they are right now, getting ready to open that trailer, have the police open that trailer. And he's completely uncooperative.
Samuel what?
Is he the driver?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to identify yourself. You understand that,
I
right?
don't know. I'm just wondering. Yeah, Samuel Bateman.
Samuel Bateman.
There he goes.
I don't understand. What are you doing? We're trying to make sure
I
people...
just got here. Explain to me what's going on.
I'm back. You're being videoed. Just in case
Yeah, that's
You're
fine.
being videoed as well. Okay.
Stuff.
Stuff? Samuel Bateman, what's your date of birth? Let's run.
What is your date of birth, sir?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Completely uncooperative. Already gave his name, refuses to give his date of birth. Does he think that they're not going to find out? I mean, I get it. I mean, I watch police body-worn cam videos all the time and people refusing to identify themselves, and they rarely get away with not identifying themselves, like one time out of 1,000, maybe. He obviously is not going to in this case.
Go ahead, sir. Turn off on your back.
Put your hands behind your
Put
back.
your hands behind your
Put
back.
your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Let's not do this right now, huh?
You are being detained until you identify yourself.
Do I have to tell my name?
Yes, you have to identify yourself. You are being detained for a crime.
Samuel Bateman.
We're still putting you in handcuffs, so just sit tight.
Yep, that's usually in the body-worn cam footage. That part of the footage where they start cooperating is after they get put in handcuffs. That's a pretty good motivator for most of them.
Don't do that.
Can I ask you why this is such a big deal? Everyone's buckled in, and in Arizona, then you can
Move
be
that
in the
back,
back
Sarge.
of the vehicle without a license, you can be in the back of the truck. Sir, you're being welcome to further notice.
We just need to identify you, figure out what's going on, we'll go from there. The reason I'm detaining you is because you failed to identify yourself when I asked. Okay?
I did. I said Samuel Bateman.
Yeah, what about date of birth?
Why didn't you ask me my social security number?
That would have worked too.
Sir, can you bend back so I can lock this in?
That's kind of hurting me.
Well, I need you to cooperate here. Sammy, what's your date of birth?
I already told you.
What is it?
I'm going to scoot forward just a little bit. Maybe we'll get closer to opening the trailer. There we go. Now they're opening the trailer.
Class of Bateman, Roy, Adam, Tom, Edward, Mary, Adam, Nora.
They made a big deal in the trial about how difficult it was to get that door open because it had been rigged somehow. But I don't remember seeing it being that difficult. Let's check it out again. Let's back up just a little, because Mr. Bateman, in representing himself, tried to say because the law enforcement officers had a little bit of a difficult time getting it open, that it had to have been secured going down the highway. So we're going to play that part one more time, showing them opening up the back of the trailer and then telling the girls to put up their hands. Ugh.
Thank you. Can you rotate this way and I'll adjust those for you?
Class of Bateman, Roy, Adam, Tom, Edward, Mary, Adam, Nora.
Or at least their weapons aren't drawn, that I can see anyway.
Who's up?
There's a lot of blurry here.
You can't come here and settle down.
Bloop, bloop a little bit.
Like over there, talk to that sergeant and see what we have going on here and if we have charges or what's going on. And he says, well, good.
Here we go. Now we're going to go get a better look in the back of that trailer. Maybe.
I'm gonna loosen this left one, okay, Sam?
What I'm looking at after discussing
Nope.
that with the sergeant. So,
I'll just say it. No, not you're saying.
okay.
Here, you're
Exercising his right to remain
Put your
silent,
right foot in first.
which he didn't do in court,
You know, we're investigating
representing himself.
Yeah.
I'm going to bloop bloop through some of this.
Okay.
I'm twisting your shirt.
Okay.
And
All right.
So there's Where's the box trailer? There we go. We're going to look inside
Pull down,
again,
pull
I
down the
think.
handle.
Saw pictures of this at the trial, and they talked about the contents. The girls were sitting in something like recliners or big overstuffed chairs. Oh,
There's hands sticking out of the top of the trailer.
same footage we just saw, but different.
Let's see them.
Same footage we saw earlier, but just a different camera from a different officer.
Let's see your hands. Behind the curtain. Okay. Keep your hands up for me. Go and walk out towards me, okay? Try not to slip.
So when he says behind the curtain, there was a makeshift toilet in there. And when they pulled over one time, Sam Bateman actually went inside there and used the makeshift toilet. And it has a curtain around it for whatever privacy that can afford. And the girls were hiding behind that curtain when they got pulled over. Ugh.
All right. Just keep walking. Is there anybody else inside the trailer? No? Perfect. Thank you, guys. Just head back there with your siblings, okay? Don't head back there with them, okay? Thank you so much.
So there's the overstuffed chair. I think there were two of them in there that the girls were riding down the interstate in. Lots of loose items. I mean, if something happens on the interstate, those are going to become projectiles. Or if something happens just going down the road, doesn't have to be the interstate, but obviously the interstate speeds, either other cars or this vehicle or both, those loose items inside that trailer are going to become deadly projectiles.
Who are you waving to? Oh. You don't know her? Oh, no, I was wondering if you knew her.
They do the same.
No, they don't try to hide it though. They just. Well, I mean, we walk around.
So it's blurred out because it's the victims that they're showing right now. And this officer is interacting with a couple of the girls, it sounds like. I'm not really following their conversation, but seems to be a pretty casual conversation. But there were a couple of important things that they said in there. Like she said, I don't know her.
Who are you waving to? Oh. You don't know her? Oh, no, I was wondering if you knew her.
They do the same.
No, they don't try to hide it though. They just. Well, I mean, we walk around with cameras on all the time, so we're used to it.
How you doing?
Hanging in there. Wish it was Friday, but it's not. Are you guys all sisters? But not actual sisters. Is there any of you that are actual sisters? The one in the brown and you are sisters? Okay. The two in the blue are sisters? Okay. I figured you guys were all tightly knit. I just didn't know the actual dynamics of the family unit here. Has someone explained you guys are concerns and why you guys? So someone called in and said they saw kids coming in and out of a trailer. That invite.
Okay, so he's interacting with a couple of the girls, and he says, "Has anybody explained to you what's going on here, and what our concerns are?" And she says no. So he's going to explain that now.
And why you guys? So someone called in and said they saw kids coming in and out of a trailer. That in by itself kind of dangerous, right? Driving down the road with kids in the trailer, and then somebody else.
So there were two reports. So they pulled over to a gas station, and when they were at the gas station, before they ever got to where they're at now, I'm going to have to go back and look and see where that gas station was. It might have been in the outskirts of Flagstaff, might have been outside of Flagstaff. I don't remember, but somebody got out of the trailer at that point in time. I think it was earlier, because one of the girls, there were originally 4 girls in the trailer. One of them got car sick and went up to the truck, went up to the SUV, and the other 3 stayed in the back. And somebody at the gas station saw the girls in the trailer and reported it. And then somebody else later on said they saw, and he's getting ready to mention this, saw the fingers trying to hold the door shut. So he's going to describe that now. So I'm going to back up just a couple seconds, replay that, because that played a key part in the trial.
And why you guys? So someone called in and said they saw kids coming in and out of a trailer. That in by itself kind of dangerous, right? Driving down the road with kids in the trailer, and then somebody else, one of the aides, saw fingers poking out of the trailer. So now I get that, but the concern for the danger of people in the car. Now you got to realize, in the whole country, we have smuggling of kids, smuggling of immigrants, and smuggling of all types of stuff, right? So extremely suspicious activity. So when we go to stop you guys, and then I don't know, what is he to you guys? Is he anybody's actual father? Him? Yeah, the one in the car. Yeah. He's somebody's father. So whoever.
He's not just somebody's father, he's somebody's husband. He's like 20 somebody's husband.
His father is, he comes over, then he starts refusing to identify himself while we're trying to conduct a traffic stop. So things are starting to escalate until we know exactly what's going on. Now we have the dilemma of, is there a probable cause for any type of arrest on him for any of the activities that was going on here? And then we have, I think you guys are over 18, you just know? One of you? You are, both of you? So we have 2 adults, and then we have several kids. So now we got to decide, are we just going to let them out of the car? You guys all jump in and go on your merry way? Or are we having to call parents to try to figure out how we're going to get them somewhere? So that's what's taking so long. They're trying to figure out these circumstances. So you have DPS, who's the main investigator here, and then you had county, because that's who got the call originally, and then you have PD because you guys are here in the city. So that's why we all showed up, and it sounded a lot more serious to begin with. Then once we de-escalate everything, we start talking to people, we start getting information, we start figuring stuff out. And that's where we're at right now. So DPS, who's handling the investigation, is making their phone calls to try to decide what the outcome of this is going to be, and that's where we stand right now.
Okay, it makes sense, because we're so used to, even where we live, and we're constantly having conservation.
So this has nothing to do with you guys, your religion, your beliefs, anything of that nature. It all has to do with the fact that kids are in and out of a trailer.
I understand that, from like asking if you're in Flagstaff, Arizona,
Yeah.
where we live, we didn't understand. Like that's why we're like where we live, and they're always surveilled anyway. So that's why we were kind of like.
But until we get information, it's hard for us to give you guys back information, right? So until we have few conversations with the kids, and then it doesn't help that whoever's father that is absolutely doesn't want to talk to us at all. So that even eliminates more of like, where are you going, where are you coming from? Like, are we all allowed to be in the same car? Like, what's going on here? So again, like I said, nothing to do with your beliefs, your religion, anything of that nature. It all has to do with the suspicious nature of what was going on. And then when we do open doors and kids start popping out of trailers, we're like, okay, what do we have going on here? So again, it may be common practice where you guys are from. That's not common practice in Flagstaff.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah. So every one of us are.
So it may be common practice where you're from. So we heard in the trial about a previous traffic stop outside of Colorado City, where a couple of the girls were riding in SUVs on a trailer behind the truck. So common practice, it sounds like it was, not to take safety seriously. I'm going to replay that part real quick, and we're going to be done with this here in a few seconds, as it was fascinating to me to hear his interaction, the girl's interaction with him. She's completely comfortable talking with him, very calmly, very capable of talking with him calmly, but there is a very messy situation going on. He was trying to talk about, we have 2 adults and a whole bunch of kids, and there's kids popping out of trailers, he said. So law enforcement had to untangle this whole mess. And she was doing a pretty good job of staying calm, asking questions, and challenging him, but doing it respectfully.
So again, it may be common practice where you guys are from. That's not common practice in Flagstaff.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, so every one of us, our whole family here in town.
Okay.
We're going somewhere to a party.
Okay. Did you just not have enough room for everyone in all the other vehicles?
We did, but they begged actually. They could ride in the truck.
That was a key point in trial too. Did they not have enough room for them in other vehicles? And she just said they did, but they begged to ride in the trailer. That came up in court a couple of different times with a couple of different victim witnesses.
In and by itself, it's not against the law. However, there is a danger aspect to it. I mean, how many times do trailers get flung off the road or pop tires or, whatever the case may be.
Even things like
And like I said, with DPS, these guys deal with, like I said, actual child sex trafficking, actual immigration trafficking, drug trafficking, all these stuff that are concerns all across the nation. And again, you guys may get frustrated because we're not providing you any information, but it's because we don't have all the information together ourselves. I just came over here because I saw you wave and I wanted to see if there was some other aspect over there that we needed to go look at. And that's why I came over and asked you. But then I also understand your frustration of not knowing what's going on. Well, I don't really know what's going on because I'm a supervisor for PD, not for DPS. So I'm just kind of piecing it together by what I'm overhearing everyone and what the original call came out to us. And, just unfortunately, when people don't do what is expected by police officers, it heightens us. So a normal traffic stop, you roll down your window, you give your driver's license, you say, I'm coming from here, going to there. That's our everyday interaction when we stop cars. But when we get drivers just popping out of cars and then closing the door and then no one else saying anything, that's not normal behavior that we see. So when that normal behavior doesn't happen, it heightens our suspicion of what's going on. So again, we like to explain to everybody what's going on, but sometimes we have to get a little more of the information to have that ability to do that for you.
yeah, well, we're sorry, but we do bunch all costs or any of that all together. All
I get it.
Probably why we do that.
I get it. But sometimes by doing that, you delay the outcome.
We have been late.
The outcome may be he gets out of the car, he gets take off the handcuffs, you guys get back in your car and you drive away. That may happen. It may happen that he goes to jail for child neglect. That may happen as well. And then we have to figure out what we're going to do with all of you guys. So there's a lot of outcomes that can come of this. But when no one wants to cooperate and tell us what's going on, that delays our ability to make those decisions. If we just simply pulled him out and he's like, yeah, I'm so-and-so. These are all church members and family members. We're all going to a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. And you guys all come out and say, yeah, I'm so-and-so and this is what we're doing. And if everyone's on the same page, we would have already been out of here, right? But Samuel doesn't want to talk to us. I don't know what your conversation was with these guys. But, if everyone shuts down on us, then we do have to do that investigation. What I was telling you earlier about all the different types of smuggling going on, we got to kind of figure out where you guys come from and what your relationship is with the police there. I don't know. We're just lonely Flagstaff police officers. And we're backing these guys up, trying to help them out. Again, like I said, I saw you waving. And to me, that's a clue sometimes that someone might be sitting over there that's with you guys. And then I would go over there and talk to that person is what I would have done.
Well, I appreciate you explaining everything.
So that's where we're at right now, is trying to decision-making time.
Okay, that's enough of that. So now I want to focus on those victims. Let me remove that from the screen. There was a documentary that was done by Netflix where they had a camera crew embedded with Sam Bateman's community. Sam Bateman's cult community with his wives, children, wives. And that was called Trust Me, False Prophet. I haven't watched it, so I'm not going to render any judgment on that. There are certain feelings about that both ways. And one of those feelings that I've heard, and I couldn't find actual quotes anywhere, so I'm paraphrasing here something that I saw, that I think I saw from some of the victims on there. That they're not all completely happy with how it turned out, or there wasn't enough for them to have their part of the story told. There's so many victims in this. Like I'm not sure how you would go about representing all of them with the number of victims that are in this, but there's one particular victim that was key in turning in Sam Bateman to the FBI. And we're going to go check out this Facebook page now. Here we go. So there's a Facebook page that's called the Short Creek Wives. And this is Julia and probably two of her daughters, maybe. This is the link. The link to this Facebook page is down in the comments. Julia needs our help. Blowing the whistle on Samuel has cost this amazing woman in so many ways. Two of her daughters ended up in foster care. Two went to prison. Her husband got 25 years. Julia's car broke down many months ago, but the cost of fixing it is the same as replacing it. She has not been able to pull either together. With a little bit of help, we can make sure she has a vehicle. So it's a little post about helping her to raise funds to help get her vehicle fixed, but there's more on the Short Creek Wives on this Facebook page. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Here's a message from her from a couple of days ago. I'm not going to air that right now just because there's so much content below this, but Julia, Shandra, Ruth, and Gladys are four of the victims of this. And here we go. This is the part that I wanted to show. So they shared this on the Short Creek Wives Facebook page. This is a post. This is a post from Ariane Brown of KSL, which is the Salt Lake News affiliate. I don't remember which network they are. But she did an interview with Marona and Shandra Johnson, who are two of the seven sisters who were married to Samuel Bateman. The sisters are now telling their stories in a book titled The Real Lives of Short Creek Wives. I'm going to scroll down just a bit. So Ariane played some of her interview with them on Facebook, and I'm going to go ahead and play those. She says, as a reporter, it's always hard to decide what parts to include in my stories. Spend a lot of time interviewing, can't add everything. But here are a couple of short clips for us to watch. So there's a book that's coming out in November. It's called The Real Lives of Short Creek Wives. And these are two of the young, very young wives of Samuel Bateman. So I'll be very fascinated to see when this book comes out. So this is what the book is supposedly what happened after the Netflix documentary, and maybe it'll show a little more about things that went on during the Netflix documentary. But let me unmute that. And here, we'll play this one. We'll play them in order.
Like some pain around other
Back to
people.
the beginning.
Just started voicing some pain around other people sharing my story, making money off my story, off our story. And also just the documentary came out, and I just started voicing to her all these feelings about it and everything. And it was mostly just I had so many questions. And so she said, well, let's start a book. There's a lot of anxiety around. Yeah. Because, it seems like a lot of people, like, it's just another show to watch. But us, that was like us, that was, we experienced that, so.
Yeah, I can imagine it's surreal. And I can't I've tried to put myself in your shoes. That would be a very hard thing to do. So do you mind, so how old are you?
I'm 29.
You're
I'm 27.
You're 27. Yes. Okay, so I didn't know who was older. And so I know one or both. Do you both have children, or?
Yes, both of us have children.
Okay, so tell me what ages?
I have two daughters. One is 4 and one is 6.
Okay, how about you, Shandra?
I have a 3-year-old and then a 5-year-old, which will be 6 in 2 weeks.
Wow, and there's probably a lot of complex emotions there, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't do that math, but obviously they got married and started having Samuel Bateman's children very young, around 20-ish. At least it's not younger than that, but that's That's young. And 3 to 5. So that was right around the time. 3 to 5. I'm trying to do the math. Yeah, this all happened so fast. All right, let's go to the next video. I'm going to have to go back and do some math on that. I can't do it on the fly though.
I was a little more, I had a little more say in the matter than pretty much a lot of the other ones. I was the first wife after a divorce. So I mean, my dad still did give me away. He still like suggested him and stuff, but I went more willingly because I wanted to, because my father actually had a wife younger than me. And so I just wanted to move on with my life. Like if other, like in the home, having a mom, so to speak, younger than me, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. So I went to my father and I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm done living here. And so he suggested, and I was just like, yes, let's do this. Let's do this, you know? And so I went more.
I want to hear that again. That's fascinating to me. She says she had a mom that was younger than her. That I don't understand how that works, because if these two were married to Samuel Bateman and there was another wife that was younger than her, I'm trying to figure this out. It's so confusing to me. I'm going to replay this one more time. It's only a minute long.
I was a little more, I had a little more say in the matter than pretty much a lot of the other ones. I was the first wife after a divorce. So I mean, my dad still did give me away. He still like suggested him. I went more willingly because I wanted to, because my father actually had a wife younger than me. And so I just wanted to move on with my life. Like if other, like in the home, having a mom, so to speak.
Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now. Her dad had a wife that was younger than her. Not Samuel Bateman, although I think he did too. But his dad went through a divorce and then married a gal that was younger than her. So she had a stepmother younger than her. So the older guys with younger wives that's what happened. Okay, I'm caught up. I'm up to speed now on what she was talking about.
Younger than me, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. So I went to my father and I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm done living here. And so he suggested, and I was just like, yes, let's do this. Let's do this, you know? And so I went more.
So she couldn't handle, and I completely understand, having a stepmother younger than her. That would be really, really tough. Really interesting dynamics to have to live there in that. So she's like, I want out. So her dad says, why don't you go marry this other older guy, Samuel Bateman? Her dad is the one that suggested him. Eesh, cringe.
And you guys, you come from a very strong woman background, from what I understand. You know, I don't know your relationship with your mother. I mean, is that something you want to speak on at all, or how her choices affected where you're at? You get to decide yes or no, how you want to talk.
Yeah, so it was very, 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 very difficult at first to find out. First off, to not find out firsthand. She didn't tell us firsthand that she had talked to FBI and that she was deep in with Christine and FBI and the law and stuff. She didn't tell us that. And when we found out, it was very, very, very hard for us. Like very hard for us. And we cut off all connection with her. It was one of the hardest things, because, you know, in our mind, it was like, our mom doesn't love us. You know, why would she do this to us?
I want to hear that again, because this has to do with the Netflix documentary and with Dr. Christine also being there involved in this whole thing. And I'm not completely familiar with her involvement because I haven't watched the documentary. I don't know if and when I'm going to, but this is another aspect of it that you don't get to see in the documentary, is how these ladies, these young ladies, felt about it and dealt with it, you know, during and after they found out, when they found out. So let's replay this one more time. This is pretty powerful right here.
And you guys, you come from a very strong woman background from what I understand. You know, what can you, I don't know your relationship with your mother. I mean, is that something you want to speak on at all, or how her choices affected where you're at? You get to decide yes or no, how you want to talk.
Yeah, so it was very, 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 very difficult at first to find out. First off, to not find out firsthand. She didn't tell us firsthand that she had talked to FBI and that she was deep in with Christine and FBI and the law and stuff. She didn't tell us that. And when we found out, it was very, very, very hard for us. Like, very hard for us. And
so
we cut off all connection with her.
So just think about that for a second, though. So Julia, who's the one we showed you at the top, who's having car troubles. And actually, she was there at the trial. I saw her. I remember seeing her there. I didn't interact with her. I just gave the victims their space. I didn't approach them at all during the trial, but she was there at the trial. I remember seeing her there at the trial. Julia is the mother of these gals, and she had contacted the FBI, and apparently, according to the girls, was deep in with Christine. And when they found out, they were upset. But looking at it from Julia's standpoint, she couldn't tell anybody, because you never know, depending on how many people you tell. Even if you tell just one person that you've gone to the FBI, that Sam Bateman has influence over all of these other people in the community, and you don't know if it's just one person, if it's two, or if you tell five, which one of those people is going to go to Sam Bateman and tell him, okay, she went to the FBI, because you don't know what's going to happen after that. She had to keep it secret, but also, you know, looking at it from these girls' standpoint, I mean, that was a shock. And she's going to say here again in a second, I'm going to play it. We cut off all contact with her. So that had been so tough for both of them, for Julia and for these young ladies.
We cut off all connection with her. It was one of the hardest things, because, you know, in our mind, it was like, our mom doesn't love us. You know, why would she do this to us?
Wow. Okay, so there's Julia and her two daughters right there. So these two.
I went more willingly
hold on.
because I wanted to, because.
All right. So we've watched all of Ariane's interviews that are posted on her Facebook page. But this book is coming out in November. It's called The Real Lives of Short Creek Wives. The link to the Facebook page is here.
And you guys, you come from a very.
And there's other content down here. I just scrolled through the first few posts this morning. Here is an interview with Sam Bateman from prison. Those two, Marona and Shandra, were his first two wives. Short Creek Wives is about the trauma and recovery they experienced. The book picks up where the documentary Trust Me stops. Zara has spent 2 years coaching the girls, helping them process their emotions in response to what happened and helping them to rebuild their lives. She's read their journals, their letters, spent countless hours visiting with the other family members, including their mother, Julia Johnson. The book is expected to be released in November of 2026. So I wanted to focus on that this morning, because all of the victims are going to get a little more justice today. As we saw from Mike Watkiss' post, Mr. Bateman could have accepted a plea deal from the prosecution to keep this at about 2.5 years. He's serving 50. I'm not sure how the Arizona Department of Corrections works. If you get credit for good time, I'm going to Google it right now. In Arizona, do you get credit for good behavior in prison? Yes, you can get credit for good behavior in Arizona prison, but is strictly limited by the state's truth in sentencing laws. 15% cap. Most inmates in Arizona are required to serve at least 85% of their sentence. Okay, so let's say he serves 85% of 50 years. So 10% would be 5 years. So 7.5 years. So he could, the earliest he would get out would be after 42.5 years. So, I mean, theoretically, he could have gotten out of prison when he's in his 80s if he had accepted the 2.5 year plea deal, depending on if it's, if it would have been tacked on consecutively or concurrently, served consecutively or concurrently, and whatever he's going to get today. So 3 counts, guilty on 3 counts of child neglect / endangerment, up to 8 years each. And also, once again, are those going to be, is the judge going to sentence him to serve those consecutively or concurrently, and also consecutively or concurrently with the federal sentence, the 50-year sentence. So it could be a total of 74 years he gets sentenced to. And if that's the case, absolutely not getting out of prison anytime. If they're all concurrently, that's 58 years. So that's 42 plus 6, 48 years. I mean, theoretically, once again, I think he could get out. How old is he? He's 50 years old. So he would be in his 90s. Yeah, he's going to serve the rest of his life in prison, more than likely. But today is, I imagine we're going to hear some victim impact statements today, and it's another chance for the victims to receive another measure of justice. Keep an eye out for that book to come out, the lives of the Short Creek Wives. Have I already forgotten the name of that? Yeah, Short Creek Wives is the name of the book that they're going to be releasing in November. That's about the first 2 wives of Samuel Bateman. That's going to be fascinating. I'm definitely going to be picking up a copy of that. And I'll be in court today for sentencing. Get to see Mike Watkis on his last story hustle, on his last story before he retires. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to the victims getting another day in court for their justice. I don't know if I'll do a live stream afterwards if there's anything meaningful that happens in court today. I mean, anything unexpected, surprising, or maybe I'll just do a 5-minute wrap after court. It's supposed to go about 2.5 hours, like 2:30 p.m. is when it's supposed to start. It could go as late as 5 p.m. That is Pacific time or Mountain Standard Time, 3 hours after Eastern. So that would be 5:30 to 8 o'clock-ish Eastern time is how late it's supposed to go. So keep an eye out if I do a live stream from outside the courthouse after sentencing today. I'll probably do that. I'll probably do like a 5-minute wrap up live afterwards. Keep an eye out for that. Also, keep an eye out for London Valdez update. I've been teasing that for months, and my problem that I've been having with that is, first of all, a couple of medical issues going on, but also overall, I mean, I've got her trial prep, or I've got Braden Brown's trial prep live 99% ready to go, and that last 1% is just killing me. And I think I'm just going to have to roll with what I've got, and it's not going to be perfect. It wasn't going to be perfect anyway, because it's me and I'm not perfect. But I've got that 171 page transcript from the February 6th hearing completely analyzed and broke down. And there's some testimony and some legal arguments in there that are going to be very relevant. The trial is coming up September 14th. It's 3 weeks away. And I will be there in person, but we need to do this trial prep live stream like now. So keep an eye out for that. That's coming in the very near future. That's got to be this weekend at the latest. I was going to do it last weekend, and then I had medical issues and I had to divert my plan. It's got to be this weekend. So keep an eye out for that. Justice for London is what we're fighting for in that case. And that one's not getting, I think I figured out why that one's not getting the public media coverage, because it's not a whodunit, and it doesn't have any salacious details that people in the true crime community often look for. We know that Braden Brown and Jose Minhares Luna spent 2.5 days partying with London, crossing state lines with London. We have the phone pings from the OSBI, and it's no mystery who contributed to her death. It's going to come down to legal arguments. And we saw a preview of that in the February 6th hearing. I've got that set up to review those and look at some actual testimony on the stand from the experts, the investigators. So we'll do that this weekend. Keep an eye out for that. Like, subscribe, keep notifications on for when I go live after court today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Ada K. Thank you, Trace on the Case, for dropping in to watch this. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we will catch you on the other side.
Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. If we put in the time. Yeah. Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime.